Okay, everybody, my name is Lowell, and welcome to the channel. So we have a reaction video for us today. This is Europeans mocked America's endless road trips, and then they tried it out. So let's have a look. Nothing like mocking something before you've tried it, eh? So let's jump in. Let's have a look at this one. God, look at that already. Oh, that looks wonderful already. look at the difference. We've had what, 3 shots of different views, and they've all been different, and they've just been breathtaking. Breathtaking. Look at the color of that water. Hello. Yellowstone. Damn. I mean, why wouldn't you take a road trip in America? Look at that Monument Valley there, that road leading up to it. I mean, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you take a road trip?
Bruv, why did my sat-nav be like, in 200 yards, turn right onto Highway 85 for 159 miles? Sorry, how many?
Europeans call American-style road trips hours of sitting in a car bored out of your mind. And from a European perspective, that's actually pretty easy to understand. In many parts of Europe, just a few hours of driving can take you through several cities or even into another country. Yeah. But in America, you can drive for hours along seemingly endless highways and still not even leave the same state.
Yep.
It sounds...
In my state, you can drive for 3 days and still be in the same state. My state is twice the size of Texas. It's a big bloody state.
Less like a vacation and more like a test of endurance. But once European travelers actually began taking road trips across America, what they discovered was completely different. In the first half of this video, we'll look at the moments when they slowly realized that those long stretches of driving aren't just hours spent behind the wheel. They're a chance to watch the landscape constantly change, discover places they never planned to visit, and understand a side of America that looks very different from what they had imagined. Then, in the second half, we'll go deeper through the journey of one young woman traveling across America, a trip that shows more clearly than anything else how each new stretch of the journey gradually changed the way she saw the country. So what turns those hours of boredom into some of the most memorable parts of the entire trip?
There's cactus! I'm driving through Arizona. Look how many there are! Look! They're standing up! With their, oh my gosh, I can't really see because I'm driving, but like, look at this right there! There's so many! Oh my gosh, it's my first time seeing a cactus like that. And they're everywhere. Look. Oh my God.
God, sometimes when I hear an Australian accent, it's just like, is that what we really sound like? Do we really sound like that? That's horrible.
And they're everywhere. Look. Oh my God. There's heaps of them. There's heaps of them. Look on the top of that. And all down there. And all down there. Oh my freaking God, this is so cool! Arizona! Look at that one! With it's like, they have like hands! They're like waving at you! This is so crazy! Look how tall it is! Oh
Look how tall it is!
Look how tall that is!
That as well.
That's a lot of cactus.
Look at it! It's so tall! I can't believe how tall they are! They're just all the way straight up! And they're everywhere! They are so cool. I didn't realize that they were like real. They're actually like massive.
So we are driving through Michigan and we've had to pull over because we've noticed something.
This is outrageous. Have a look at this.
So we're in Ypsilanti and we've noticed a monument. Look at this.
All I'm going to say is, no wonder Michigan is so confident.
Michigan really said, go big or go home. Look at the size of
What the
that.
hell is
Imagine trying to
that?
give directions and be
Is that a water tower? Is that what that is?
Yeah, left at the water tower.
Whoever designed that knew exactly what they were doing.
Guys, you must know us well enough by now to know that we didn't just come to America to see Chicago. This is in fact just the starting point.
This is our biggest RV road trip in the USA yet. We can't wait to experience it all with you guys, and we're going to take you on every step of the way with us, behind the scenes, everything you can imagine on this road trip, we're going to show you guys.
We are doing approximately 9,000 miles, our biggest trip yet.
Damn.
We are starting in Chicago, we're heading east and then south. Can you guess which states we are hitting along the way? Can you give us any recommendations of what states to hit along the way?
We're so excited to see all the nature, all the beautiful mountains, meet new people. So if you do see us, please come up and say hello, because we would love a chat with you as well.
Guys, we are honestly buzzing, man. Our biggest road trip yet, Cruise America. Oh, guys, this is gonna be a once in a lifetime trip, and we're so excited to bring you guys along with us.
Let's go.
Let's go. On the road again, baby.
On the road again. We're so excited, guys. Guess where we are going. We've kind of given you a hint, but guess the states we are visiting.
New Mexico, I love you, pueblos. The first experience we had in New Mexico, we were in Albuquerque last year, and we had that weird incident with this one person who flipped us off, and it was really uncomfortable situation, and we left Albuquerque right after that. But so far we've been in Santa Fe since yesterday.
But first we were in Farmington.
Oh yeah.
And we went to the library 2 days in Farmington. The public library is beautiful. And the people are so kind. Oh my god.
Farmington Library.
One of the best libraries we've been to, I think. And so, well designed and everything.
It had a charger, so that was nice too.
And right now we're in Santa Fe, and the first thing we notice is the style of houses. Like, we love the Pueblo style of houses. And this is just like, from my perspective, you can't group the US as one country because each state is its own different culture.
So
like, there's so many different cultures and communities in the US, and like, I think it's so cool. Like, I think it's so cool to celebrate how diverse it is, because if you're driving through some of the streets in Santa Fe, for example, it's not typical US, and I think that's so cool, and I really appreciate the differences and the character. I think character is so important instead of just the classic strip mall, America. So we definitely have liked it so far, and we can't wait to explore more.
Yep, love it.
Welcome to the loneliest road in America.
On my quest to visit every county in America, I decided to take Highway 50 through Nevada, also known as the loneliest road in America.
Let's go.
Once you get past the final town, it does indeed get very lonely and very beautiful as well. I really love the desert.
Tonight I'm going to be camping on the other side of these mountains right here.
I drove for several hours, passing through one tiny town and just enjoying driving through the desertscape.
But you know what? It's not lonely enough.
So then I decided to turn onto a smaller road off the loneliest highway, and boy am I glad that I did.
It's so pretty.
Yeah,
the mountains along this small road were absolutely stunning. I couldn't believe it, but something was still missing.
Let's get even lonelier.
That road was still too busy, so I turned onto a gravel road and drove into the forest.
Much lonelier.
Once I found a good spot, I went for a walk, set up my tent, made a little fire, and enjoyed this beautiful view as the sun set over the valley.
We'll see where day 2 takes us. Thanks for watching.
Did you know the center of the world is actually in California? Located in the southeast corner of the state in the tiny town of Felicity, this spot is home to the center of the world, designated by a plaque inside of a pyramid, a granite museum full of humanity's accomplishments, and it even has an actual piece of the Eiffel Tower. It was recognized by France as the center of the world in 1989, and if you're looking for a unique spot to visit in California, then look no further.
Damn.
I've just started a road trip across America. I'm currently in Texas. I'm on the outskirts of
the Maccas, of course.
Wichita Falls. I'm on the outskirts of Wichita Falls, but we're on our way to Amarillo, so we're gonna head there probably later tonight and head in, and we've booked a really cute Texan themed hotel. I'm so excited, but this is what it's like in the middle of nowhere. Oh yeah, they've got
a Airstream
home. That's so cool. But yeah, it's literally nowhere. Here we've got a McDonald's. We've got a gas station. I would call it a petrol station, but I'm in America. We've got a Taco Bell, Starbucks, some houses over there.
In the middle of nowhere.
This is just off the side of the highway, down from Wichita Falls. But my road trip starts today. This is the first full day, so I'm going to be driving across America. Follow along if you want to see sort of my trip, I guess. But I'm excited to start, and It is my first time driving on the opposite side of the road in a car, so let's see how that goes, shall we?
The moments we just saw make one thing pretty clear. Sometimes the distances that seem far too long are exactly what allow travelers to see a side of America they would completely miss if they simply flew straight to their destination. And to understand that feeling even better, let's follow Emma Gerard on a much more personal journey. Instead of getting behind the wheel, Emma chose to travel across America by Amtrak, making her way from Los Angeles through the vast landscapes of Montana, Oregon, and Washington. And the farther she traveled, the more the views outside her window turned the journey itself into an entirely different kind of experience.
This is day 1 of traveling across America on an Amtrak train.
I started this journey with 2 of my friends offering to give me a ride to Union Station. We stopped to get coffee, and then I immediately spilled it on my pants. But it's okay. We grieved for 30 seconds and then moved on.
I made it to Union Station in Los Angeles, which is the first stop of my trip. We'll see how this goes. I'm a little nervous. I have no idea where I'm going. I don't know how to get on a train.
I got to the platform super early, saw this one train coming in and tried to record it for B-roll, and turns out it actually was my train. It was just super early.
So it seems like I found my seat. These seats are huge.
This is way
that's
bigger than
pretty comfy.
And then we were off, and I started to make my way out of LA and towards my first destination, which is Seattle, Washington. My first thought was that I really wanted to get a seat in the observation car, so I went there to...
That's a good way to do a trip across America. You know, you don't have to worry about directions and whatever else, but you can sit back and relax and just watch the scenery go by. That's a pretty good way to do it.
My first thought was that I really wanted to get a seat in the observation car, so I went there to see if I could get a seat a couple of times, but it filled up really fast, and so I kept having to go back to my seat to wait. But once we got to Santa Barbara, a couple of seats opened up, and I secured myself the spot. So this is where I spent the majority of my time, and I just watched the scenery go by, and it was so beautiful. The train I took for this leg of the journey is called the Coast Starlight, and it takes you up the entire West Coast. So the majority of the views I got on this trip were of the ocean, a lot of fields in the Central Valley, and even a SpaceX launch platform, which was pretty cool. Of course, to pass the time, I started making some friends.
This is my train friend.
Hello, hello. From San Obispo up to San Jose.
Heck yeah.
I met this one woman named Barbara who was so sweet and shared some of her adult coloring book pictures with me.
Hong Kong Tower.
Once the sun went down, I decided to try and get some sleep because I have another full day on the train tomorrow. So I went to bed in Sacramento, and with that, I will see you tomorrow for day 2 of my ride across America.
Good morning. It's 5 a.m. and this is day 2 of traveling around the United States on an Amtrak train. I'm exhausted.
Today I woke up super early to catch some views of Mount Shasta, which made an appearance around 5 a.m. this morning. I got to watch a beautiful sunrise in Northern California while I hunkered down to spend another full day on the train until I reached Seattle. I saw lots of cows, lots of water, saw Oregon for the first time, so that was cool, saw Washington State for the first time, which was also really cool, and I saw some of the greenest trees I have ever seen in my life. These trees were like pure emerald green. Absolutely beautiful. Past some gorgeous lakes, past a lot of farmland, past Portland, Oregon, put a bird on it, and then finally, after so many hours, we reached Seattle.
Okay, 2 days later, I have made it to Seattle for the very first time, so that's exciting.
After a desperate search for dinner and coming to find out that pretty much everywhere in Seattle closes at 8 p.m., I finally found some dinner at a little Turkish cafe and then made my way to my hostel to say goodnight.
And today we've woken up in Seattle, and this is day 3 of traveling around the United States on an Amtrak train.
I woke up around 8 this morning, excited to explore Seattle. The hostel I was staying in was actually right across the street from Pike's Place Market, which was super convenient. Of course, got to see them throw the fish. And then I was on the hunt for breakfast, but this place is not user-friendly, and I kept getting lost.
This place is like a maze. I have no idea where I am. Not a clue.
After a lot of wrong turns, I eventually found where I needed to be.
I am currently at Soundview Cafe, and I think I just spent the same amount of money on one breakfast that I spent buying all of the food that I ate on Amtrak for the past 2 days. But I don't even care because I'm starving and I have not had real food aside from food that's been microwaved for 2 days. So I'm excited to eat this.
This place was super cute and had an awesome view of the waterfront, and that's where I decided to head next.
Is this bigger than the one in London? I genuinely don't know.
And of course, while I was in Seattle, I had to check out some iconic sites from The Last of Us.
Ellie, Gina, where you at, homies?
I tried to go in, but they didn't let me. After my nerd detour, my next destination was an iconic site that everybody knows.
Found the Space Needle.
Space Needle.
I made it to the Space Needle. She is pretty tall. I kind of expected it to be taller. I thought I'd be able to see it above the city, but I really didn't see it until I was almost here. So I was like, oh, maybe it's smaller than I thought. And then I got here and I'm like, no, that's pretty big. I didn't go up to the top, but I did walk around the grounds for a little bit and checked out the gift shop.
Got a little sticker for my bottle.
Heading back for some lunch, I wanted to walk along the waterfront, but I'm trying to get to the waterfront. It's literally right behind me, but all the access points to it are closed.
Oh, that's weird.
So this is taking a lot longer than I wanted it to. I did get there eventually. Then I accidentally ran into the gum wall, which is cool to see. And finally, I arrived at Pike's Place Chowder, where the line was around the block, but it was well worth it. My last stop of the day was the Seattle Public Library, which had some wild architecture. Super cool place. I'm exhausted. Today was a successful day. Now we're about to get back on the train. And this is where I boarded my next train called the Empire Builder, which will take me from Seattle all the way to Chicago. The afternoon brought some beautiful views of Mount Olympus and all the other mountains as we went through Washington State. And I'm super excited for tomorrow's destination, which is East Glacier Park, Montana. This is day 4 of traveling around the United States on an Amtrak train. And today we are at 2 Medicine Lake in Glacier National Park. Today was another early 5 a.m. morning as we crossed into Montana. Me and 2 of my train friends watched the sun come up over some really foggy mountains, and then I saw some of the bluest river water I have ever seen. Sleeping on the train hasn't been the easiest thing, and I was pretty tired, but I got a coffee and woke the heck up because my train was rolling into Glacier at about 9 a.m. that morning, and this is one of the destinations that I was most excited to see.
I just got off in Glacier National Park, and this is where I'm staying.
This train literally drops me in the front lawn of this hotel, and it looks so gorgeous here. I'm really excited. I've met so many nice people on this train too. There was one guy who was explaining all the sights to us pretty much the entire ride through Glacier. One woman last night was so kind, and I was talking to her about how expensive the dining car is. And when she got up to leave, she gave me a $50 bill and told me to go buy myself a nice dinner in the dining car, which I thought was the sweetest thing. Shout out to you, Marjorie. You were so kind to me, and I really appreciate that. I was super excited to see this lodge, and right off the bat, I was greeted with some super cute friends.
Oh my god, there's another dog just laying out front.
They're so cute. I love this place already. So this lodge was insane. I am staying in hostels the majority of the nights on this trip, but this was one of 2 places that I decided to splurge on. And honestly, it was worth it. This place was so beautiful. All of the views that you get from the balconies outside are just gorgeous. The staff was so friendly, and honestly, I was just really stoked to have my own room and shower for the night. Obviously, I had to stop at the gift shop and get a little sticker for my water bottle. And then I hopped on a hotel shuttle that took me into Glacier National Park. Since I didn't have a car, I was restricted to only staying at the site where the shuttle dropped me, which happened to be 2 Medicine Lake, and this place was great. 10 out of 10, definitely recommend. I tried to get on a boat tour down there, but they were all full, so they put me on a wait list, but turns out they have space for me, so we are getting on last minute.
Hey, how you doing?
I was super stoked that they let me on this boat. This was definitely the highlight of the visit. They even let us take turns standing on the bow to get some pictures, but not everybody took advantage of that for some reason, so I went up 3 separate times. Once the shuttle brought me back to the lodge, I headed out in search of some dinner in the middle of nowhere, and I got Mexican food in Montana. And surprisingly, it was pretty good. Today was another successful day, and I am wiped once again, but tomorrow we get back on the train and head for Chicago.
It's day 5, traveling around America on the train.
Morning. My stay at the Glacier Park Lodge has come to an end. I got my coffee. I had a lovely night's sleep in a real bed, took a real shower, and now I'm heading back to the train station, and we're going to be heading to Chicago next. So this leg of the journey is going to be pretty long, just like the first train I was on. I'm going to be on this one for about 2 days. So see what we see.
I really am obsessed with Montana now, guys. This place is so gorgeous. I'm sad to be leaving.
And so I headed back to the train platform, watched some freights go by, and waited for my ride. Luckily, there were no delays, and she pulled up right on time.
As soon as I got on, you already know where I'm heading, straight to the observation car to get a seat, and I watched the mountains of Glacier National Park vanish and turn into the Great Plains. Now, I'll be honest, this ride mostly consisted of nothing, and oh, look, more nothing. But truthfully, since I don't come from the nothing and I rarely see this kind of nothing, I thought it was really interesting. Despite all the nothing, Montana really is a pretty gorgeous state. We did get some more hills and water, a lot of grain elevators, and some weird-looking dinosaurs. But for the most part, it really is just yellow fields as far as you can see in every direction for about 12 hours. There were so many fields that this was actually the first time on the entire trip that I finally pulled out my book. But I didn't read for long. I really do love Big Sky Country. I thought it was really beautiful. This ride was really peaceful and gave me a lot of good time to think.
To see those open fields and just fields and nothing, I think that's pretty interesting too. I really think so.
At one point during sunset, a guy brought out his guitar and started playing for the train. I got some dinner, listening to his tunes. And then we pulled into North Dakota, and turns out we were about an hour ahead of schedule, so our train stopped for a while. Now I can say I've stepped foot in North Dakota. This is the first time I've gotten out of the train at a destination that isn't mine, because I've been too afraid that I would get off and the train would leave me. But they said that we're going to be here for almost an hour at this little town in North Dakota. So I decided to get some air. Pretty much everyone on the train got out at this point to stretch their legs. I took a couple laps myself, but didn't wander far from the train because, again, was scared it would leave me. I forgot how far north we actually were, and the sun didn't go down until almost 10 at night. Never thought I'd be walking around in North Dakota at 10:30 at night. But here I am. That's all. We boarded again around 11 p.m. I got ready to head to bed, and tomorrow I'll be arriving in Chicago.
This is day 6 of traveling around America on an Amtrak train.
This morning, I woke up in Minnesota to a very foggy sunrise. Now, this portion of the trip had some of the most average scenery I've seen so far, and it seemed like a lot of people on the train agreed because I was the only one in the observation car for a little bit. If you've never been to this part of the country before, it's really pretty, but as someone who grew up in Massachusetts, none of this was something that I haven't already seen before. We did pass by the Mississippi River, though, which I wasn't expecting, so that was pretty cool to see since it's such an iconic landmark. But aside from that, a lot of trees, a lot of grass, a lot of corn, more trains. We did get delayed about an hour trying to get into Chicago just because this city is such a major travel hub and so many trains are trying to get through at once. Chicago's Union Station is also enormous, and I wasn't expecting to be dropped underground.
We made it.
After I got through the tunnels, made it through the Great Hall, I finally emerged onto the city streets.
After another 2 days on the train, we have made it to Chicago. It says it's supposed to thunderstorm all night and maybe tomorrow, so we'll see how much good weather I actually get, but I made it. Another train down.
I didn't do a whole lot of exploring when I got off the train just because my main goal was to make it to my hostel before it started raining. But I saw a lot of pretty buildings along the way. The hostel I was staying in was huge and had an awesome common space, but my main goal tonight was to do some chores.
My first time doing a load of laundry in a hostel. Yay! I can't wait for my stuff to be clean.
While my clothes were in the wash, I went out and got some Thai food for dinner and ate it with this pretty cool view of the train in front of me. And that was pretty much the extent of my night. I hung out with one girl from my hostel who was from Germany. We talked for a while. She was great. And then we both went to bed, and I'm excited to explore the city of Chicago tomorrow.
In the end, American road trips can still be long, tiring, and sometimes mean spending hours staring at the road stretching endlessly ahead. But for many European travelers, those supposedly boring hours are exactly when they begin to see America most clearly, from the constantly changing landscapes and small roadside towns to a real sense of just how vast this country truly is. Maybe a road trip isn't only about where you end up, but also about everything you discover along the way. So what about you? Would you rather drive across America or simply fly straight to your destination? Share your choice in the comments and subscribe if you want to see more American experiences through the eyes of international travelers.
Without worrying about insects. Even having one.
So that was an interesting video. Not all of those people obviously are Europeans, but it's interesting that people have this preconceived idea about, America, and you get there and if you do it, I would definitely rather do a road trip than just fly from city to city. Because I think you're missing out on so much. So much of America changes. They're saying, each neighborhood, each little county, each state, all completely different. All have their own style and all have their own vibe and feel and everything else. But some of those views you get, obviously Glacier National Park is absolutely breathtaking. You know, the desert scenes as well. I think the desert scenes are amazing. You know, that flat land that you see, you know, in the middle of nowhere with just cornfields and fields and whatever. I think that's cool as well, you know. So yeah, I'd love to take a road trip in America just to see the changing landscapes and everything else and those straight roads and just, you know, just cruise down the roads and just take it all in. I think that was a brilliant, absolutely brilliant video. So let me know if you enjoyed that one, guys. Thank you very much for joining us today. Make sure you stay safe. And I'll definitely see you in the next reaction video. Oh, you're still here? You want more content? Why don't you check out my Patreon down here? You'll get plenty more content and some exclusive videos over there too. If not, why not check out this one over here?